Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were truly happy? Not content, not satisfied, but genuinely, deeply happy? Now here's the harder question. Were you trying to be happy in that moment, or did it just happen? If you're like most people, the times you remember being happiest weren't when you were actively pursuing happiness. They were moments when you were so absorbed in something else that happiness found you instead. There's a profound irony at the heart of human existence. The more desperately we chase happiness, the more it eludes us. It's like trying to catch your own shadow. The faster you run, the faster it moves away. Today, we're going to explore why this happens, why the direct pursuit of happiness is often a trap, and more importantly, what we should be doing instead. This isn't about giving up on joy or settling for misery. It's about understanding the fundamental nature of happiness itself. Because once you understand how happiness actually works, you can stop fighting against your own well-being and start living in a way that actually creates lasting fulfillment. We'll break this down into 3 core categories. First, we'll explore the trap itself, how modern culture has sold us a broken model of happiness. Second, we'll dive into why chasing happiness fails from a philosophical and psychological perspective. And third, we'll discover what actually works, the alternative path that leads to genuine well-being. So let's begin by understanding the trap we've all walked into, the cultural obsession. We live in a culture absolutely obsessed with happiness. Open Instagram and you're bombarded with influencers showcasing their best life. Walk into any bookstore and you'll find entire sections dedicated to happiness, positivity, and self-improvement. The message is everywhere. You should be happy, you can be happy, and if you're not happy, something is wrong with you. The happiness industry is worth billions of dollars. Self-help books, motivational seminars, life coaches, wellness retreats, all promising to unlock the secret to lasting happiness. And yet, rates of anxiety and depression continue to climb. Loneliness is at epidemic levels. Something isn't adding up. The problem isn't that people want to be happy. That's natural. The problem is that we've been taught to pursue happiness as a goal, as a destination, as something you can achieve and then possess. This is the trap. Quick aside, my mother said I wouldn't reach 100 subscribers with philosophy like this. But I believe these investigations deserve to exist outside academic gatekeeping. If you think accessible, rigorous philosophy matters, subscribe to Critical Essentials. We're building something here that refuses easy answers. Now, back to how this happiness trap actually operates in your daily life and why your brain is designed to keep you running on that treadmill forever. The hedonistic treadmill. There's a phenomenon psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. It describes how humans quickly return to a baseline level of happiness despite major positive or negative life changes. You get the promotion you've been dreaming about, you're ecstatic for a few weeks, then you adapt. You buy the car, the house, the gadget, initial joy, then back to normal. The treadmill keeps moving. You need the next thing, the next achievement, the next experience to get that happiness hit again. But each time, the effect diminishes. You need more to feel the same level of satisfaction. This isn't a character flaw. It's how our brains evolved. Our ancestors who felt satisfied and content after securing one meal didn't survive as well as those who kept searching for the next one. Evolution doesn't care about your happiness. It cares about your survival and reproduction. But here's where it gets interesting. We're applying survival mechanisms to a modern world where survival isn't the primary concern anymore. We're running on a treadmill that's designed to keep us running forever. The comparison game. Social media has amplified this trap exponentially. We're not just comparing ourselves to our neighbors anymore. We're comparing our behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's highlight reel. And we're doing it hundreds of times per day. Every scroll is a potential hit to your self-esteem. Everyone seems happier, more successful, more fulfilled. Their vacations are better. Their relationships are perfect. Their lives are Instagram-worthy. But you're comparing your internal experience complete with doubts, insecurities, and mundane moments to their external performance. It's an unfair comparison by design, and it makes happiness feel perpetually out of reach. The more you chase what appears to make others happy, the more you distance yourself from what might actually fulfill you. The tyranny of positive thinking. The modern self-help movement has created another layer to this trap. The belief that you should be able to think your way to happiness. Just be more positive. Practice gratitude. Visualize your goals. Manifest your dreams. Now, there's nothing wrong with gratitude or positive thinking as practices. The problem is when they become moral imperatives. When not being happy becomes a personal failure. When sadness is treated as a problem to solve rather than a natural part of human experience. This creates what researchers call meta-emotions, feelings about feelings. You feel sad, then you feel bad about feeling sad, then you feel frustrated that you can't stop feeling sad. It's an emotional spiral that makes everything worse. The pressure to be happy makes us less happy, the missing piece. Here's what all of these approaches get wrong. They treat happiness as the end goal, as the point of life itself. But what if happiness isn't supposed to be the goal? What if it's a byproduct, a side effect of living well rather than the target itself? Ancient philosophers understood this. Religious traditions understood this. But somewhere along the way, especially in modern Western culture, we lost the plot. We turned happiness from a potential outcome into a mandatory destination. And in doing so, we created a generation of people exhausted from chasing something that was never meant to be caught. That's the trap. We've been set up to fail by pursuing happiness directly. But why? What is it about the nature of happiness itself that makes it so resistant to direct pursuit? That's what we need to explore next. The intentionality paradox. There's a concept in philosophy and psychology called the paradox of hedonism, or the intentionality paradox. It goes like this. The more you aim at happiness and make it a conscious goal, the less likely you are to achieve it. Think about it. When you're trying to have fun, when you're consciously attempting to enjoy yourself, how often does it actually work? Compare that to times when you were absorbed in conversation, lost in a project, or helping someone else. Those moments of genuine joy almost always happen when you're not trying. Happiness, by its very nature, seems to resist direct pursuit. It's a state that emerges from doing other things well. It's a consequence, not a cause. The philosopher John Stuart Mill, despite being one of the founders of utilitarianism, a philosophy centered on maximizing happiness, recognized this paradox. He wrote, "Those only are happy who have their minds fixed on some object other than their own happiness. on the happiness of others, on the improvement of mankind, even on some art or pursuit, followed not as a means, but as itself an ideal end. In other words, happiness comes from caring about things other than happiness. The self-consciousness problem. When you're trying to be happy, you're inherently self-conscious. You're monitoring your emotional state, checking in. Am I happy yet? How about now? This constant self-monitoring pulls you out of experience itself. Think about trying to fall asleep. The more you try, the more alert you become. The more you think, I need to sleep, the more awake you feel. Sleep, like happiness, requires a kind of letting go, a release of control. When you're genuinely happy, laughing with friends, absorbed in creating something, experiencing awe at something beautiful, you're not thinking about yourself. The self fades into the background. You're present with the experience itself. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called this flow. It's a state where you're completely absorbed in an activity. Time seems to disappear. Self-consciousness vanishes. And often, after the fact, you realize you were deeply happy during that time. But you can't enter flow by trying to be in flow. You enter it by focusing completely on the task at hand, on something challenging that matches your skill level. Happiness is the side effect, the attachment problem. Buddhism has been teaching this for 2,500 years. Attachment is the root of suffering. But what does attachment really mean? It's not about not caring. It's about clinging. It's about demanding that things be a certain way. When you chase happiness, you're attaching to an outcome. You're saying, I need to feel this way to be okay. This creates two problems. First, it makes your well-being conditional on achieving a particular emotional state. Your peace depends on getting what you want. Second, it sets you up for suffering because emotional states are, by definition, temporary. Chasing permanent happiness is like chasing a permanent wave. It's a contradiction in terms. The Buddhist concept of impermanence, that all things change, applies to happiness too. Joy arises and passes. Contentment comes and goes. When you accept this, when you stop trying to make happiness permanent, you paradoxically suffer less. You can enjoy happiness when it's present without desperately trying to make it stay. And you can experience difficult emotions without treating them as catastrophic failures. The meaning question. Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote one of the most important books of the 20th century, Man's Search for Meaning. His central insight, born from the most extreme suffering imaginable, was this: don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue. Frankl argued that what humans really need isn't happiness, it's meaning. A sense that their life matters, that their suffering has purpose, that they're contributing to something beyond themselves. He observed that prisoners who had a why, to live for a reason to survive, were more likely to make it through the camps than those who had given up on meaning. It wasn't the happiest prisoners who survived. It was those who had something to live for. This suggests that happiness might actually be the wrong goal entirely, that what we're really seeking is a meaningful life, and happiness is just one of many emotional experiences that arise along the way. When you pursue happiness directly, you're often pursuing feeling good in the moment. But when you pursue meaning, you're willing to accept difficulty, challenge, even pain, because it's in service of something important. And here's the paradox. The meaningful life often produces more genuine, lasting well-being than the happy life. This is a kind of philosophical confrontation that makes people uncomfortable, which is exactly why it matters. My mother doubted anyone would care about investigations this challenging, but you're still here. So I want to know, have you experienced this shift from chasing happiness to seeking meaning in your own life? What happened when you stopped trying to be happy and started asking what was worth doing instead? Share your honest take in the comments. And if this depth is what you've been looking for, hit like so the algorithm knows thoughtful people still exist. Critical essentials. Philosophy that doesn't insult your intelligence. Now, let's dig into the neuroscience behind why your brain literally cannot sustain constant happiness. The neurological reality. Neuroscience backs this up. Our brains aren't wired to sustain constant happiness. That's not how the neurochemical systems work. Dopamine, often called the happiness chemical, isn't actually about happiness at all. It's about motivation and reward prediction. You get a dopamine hit when you anticipate something good, not when you get it. Once you have it, dopamine drops. This is why achievement often feels anticlimactic. Serotonin, associated with mood regulation, requires balance. You can't just flood your system with it continuously. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, emerges in moments of connection but isn't a permanent state. Our emotional systems are designed to fluctuate. They're signaling systems, not permanent settings. Trying to maintain constant happiness is fighting against your own biology. Evolution shaped us to be good enough most of the time, with spikes of positive emotion to reward survival-relevant behaviors and spikes of negative emotion to alert us to threats. The baseline isn't bliss, it's functional adequacy. Understanding this is liberating. You're not broken because you can't maintain constant happiness. You're human. Your emotional system is working exactly as designed. The ego trap. Finally, chasing happiness often becomes an ego project. I will be happy. I will optimize my life. I will achieve fulfillment. The I becomes central. But many wisdom traditions suggest that ego transcendence, getting beyond the constant focus on the self, is actually key to well-being. When you're absorbed in something larger than yourself, the petty concerns of the ego fade. The happiest moments of life often involve self-forgetting. Being so engaged with others, with nature, with work, with creativity, that you temporarily forget to monitor your own happiness. The pursuit of happiness, ironically, keeps you trapped in self-focus. It keeps the ego in the driver's seat, constantly evaluating and judging. Am I happy yet? What about now? This is exhausting. And it's the opposite of the ego transcendence that actually produces well-being. So if chasing happiness doesn't work, what does? What's the alternative path? Focus on values, not feelings. Instead of asking, what will make me happy? Ask, what do I value? What matters to you? What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want your life to stand for? Values are different from goals. A goal is something you achieve. I want to get promoted. A value is a direction. I want to live with integrity. You can achieve a goal and check it off. You express a value in every moment. When you orient your life around values, honesty, creativity, compassion, curiosity, courage, you have a compass rather than a destination. You can ask in any situation, is this choice aligned with my values? Not, will this make me happy? The remarkable thing is that living according to your values often produces deep satisfaction. Not constant happiness, but something better. A sense that you're living authentically, that your life has integrity, that who you are matches what you do. This is what the ancient Greeks called eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or the good life. It's not about feeling good, it's about being good at being human, living well, actualizing your potential. And research shows that people who report high levels of eudaimonia, meaning growth, purpose, often report greater life satisfaction than those chasing hedonic pleasure. Embrace the full spectrum. Stop treating difficult emotions as problems to solve. Sadness, anxiety, grief, anger. These are part of being human. They carry information. They connect us to what matters. You can only grieve what you loved. You can only be disappointed if you cared. You can only feel anxious if something's at stake. These emotions, uncomfortable as they are, point toward what's meaningful to you. The alternative to chasing happiness isn't resignation to misery. It's emotional acceptance. It's developing the capacity to experience the full range of human emotion without needing to control or fix every uncomfortable feeling. This is the core insight of acceptance and commitment therapy, one of the most effective modern therapeutic approaches. The goal isn't to eliminate negative thoughts and feelings. It's to accept them, let them be present, and take action based on your values anyway. When you stop fighting your emotional experience, when you stop treating unhappiness as a personal failure, you free up enormous energy. Energy you can redirect toward actually living. Cultivate connection. Humans are social creatures. The longest running study on human happiness, the Harvard Study of Adult Development, which has tracked people for over 80 years, has one clear finding. Relationships matter more than anything else for well-being. Not shallow connections, not networking. Deep, authentic relationships where you're seen, known, and valued. But here's the thing. You can't have deep connection while wearing a happiness mask. Real intimacy requires vulnerability. It requires being willing to show up as you actually are, struggles, doubts, fears included. The irony is that chasing happiness often isolates us. We present a curated version of ourselves. We hide our difficulties because we're ashamed we're not happy enough. And in doing so, we prevent real connection. When you stop pretending to be happy and start being real, you create space for genuine relationship. And genuine relationship is one of the most reliable sources of well-being. Engage in meaningful work. This doesn't necessarily mean your career, though it can. It means finding something to do that matters to you, something that uses your talents in service of something beyond yourself. It could be raising children, building furniture, teaching, creating art, volunteering, solving problems, helping neighbors. The specific content matters less than the fact that it's meaningful to you and contributes to something larger. When you're engaged in work that matters, happiness becomes irrelevant in the best possible way. You're not thinking about whether you're happy. You're absorbed in the work itself. And often, after hours of this engagement, you realize you've experienced deep satisfaction. Not giddy excitement, though that can happen too, but something quieter and more substantial. A sense that you spent your time well, that you contributed, that you lived today. Practice being, not becoming. Much of the happiness chase is future-oriented. I'll be happy when I get X. Once I achieve Y, then I'll be content. But this means you're never actually here. You're always leaning into a future that hasn't arrived yet. And when it does arrive, you're already leaning into the next thing. The alternative is presence, being where you are, experiencing this moment as it is, not as a stepping stone to something better. This is what contemplative practices like meditation are really about. Not achieving some blissed out state, just being present with what is, noticing thoughts without getting lost in them, experiencing sensations without needing to change them. When you practice presence, ordinary moments reveal unexpected richness. A cup of coffee, morning light, a conversation. These aren't obstacles to happiness, they are your life. And they're happening now, whether you're present for them or not. Serve something beyond yourself. Finally, one of the most reliable paths to well-being is getting beyond yourself entirely, contributing to something larger, being part of something that will continue after you're gone. This could be family, community, a cause you believe in, environmental stewardship, artistic tradition, intellectual pursuit, anything where your individual ego is subsumed into something greater. When you're acting in service of others or a larger purpose, the question of, am I happy, becomes almost absurd. You're not doing it to be happy, you're doing it because it matters. And yet, paradoxically, service often produces profound well-being, not because it makes you happy, but because it makes you feel that your life has meaning, that you matter, that you're part of something larger than your own fleeting emotional states. So here's what we've discovered. The pursuit of happiness is a trap, a cultural obsession that sets us up to fail by making an emotional state into a destination. It fails because happiness, by its nature, can't be directly pursued. It emerges as a byproduct of living well, not as a goal in itself. The alternative isn't giving up on well-being. It's reorienting entirely. Focus on values, not feelings. Embrace the full emotional spectrum. Cultivate genuine connection. Engage in meaningful work. Practice presence. Serve something beyond yourself. My mother said philosophical investigations like this wouldn't find an audience. If you're someone who refuses easy answers and demands intellectual honesty from philosophy, then you're exactly why Critical Essentials exists. Subscribe, not for me, but because rigorous, accessible philosophy should exist outside paywalls and academic gatekeeping. And here's what I want from you. What have you sacrificed in the pursuit of happiness that you now realize was more valuable than happiness itself? And what values are you reorienting your life around instead? Be brutally honest. The comments on this channel are where the real philosophical work happens. Your lived experience is philosophical data. Share it. When you stop chasing happiness and start living according to your values, something remarkable happens. You don't achieve constant happiness. That was never possible. But you experience something better. A life that feels worth living. Moments of genuine joy. Deep satisfaction. A sense that you're being who you're meant to be. Happiness becomes something that visits you occasionally rather than something you desperately chase. And because you're not clinging to it, you can enjoy it fully when it arrives. Stop chasing happiness. Start living meaningfully. The well-being you seek will find you along the way. We're building something here. Philosophy that treats you like an adult capable of complexity. Critical essentials, because easy answers are for cowards. Thanks for thinking with me.